Hello, and on the gaming table today, we're taking a look at a Volley and Bayonet game. This is where I soloed out what I'm calling Manassas. So I'm using the order of battle and some other details from this document, which is a scenario for the first battle of Bull Run. However, I'm not using the exact terrain. It's an approximation based on what I have. So this is roughly the kind of battle, but I'm not pretending that it's a real refight of the Battle of First Manassas or the first Bull Run. Really, this was just a practice game for me, soloing out Volley and Bayonet, just to get the hang of it again, because I need to play more games to kind of learn the rules a bit more. So here you can see the table I laid out for this battle. It's kind of a rough approximation. I didn't actually consult the map when I laid things out here, and I just put down some rivers and roads and hills based on a rough approximation of what's going on in this battle. If you're looking at the roads and rivers and wondering what they are, it's actually chenille yarn. So it's just laid out and it looks quite good on the table like this from a distance at least. Up too close, it's pretty obvious what it is. But for today's video, it does okay. So right at the moment, you can see the action in the second turn. The Union is deploying pretty well here down two of the roads, and at the top there are some Confederate reinforcements coming on. I actually made a mistake in reading the scenario rules here. I misread how the Confederates are in command without division commanders on the table, and so the two brigades at the top of the table, which is Bartow and B, kind of got stuck without being able to move for a little while, when actually they should have still been able to move as long as they were in column. Really, what should have happened is those brigades should have been able to move up a little bit more and at least deploy out of column into line, and that would have held the Union up. As it was, the Union was advancing pretty fast here, and they quickly beat up the brigade that was guarding the Stone Bridge equivalent in this one, beat it off and routed it in the first round of combat. Meanwhile, at the top there, Jackson's brigade has come on and is blocking the other road, which leads towards Newmarket. So the Confederates have some forces on the table, but unfortunately they're all kind of stuck in column at the moment. Here the Union forces had a bit of slow movement to follow up on their initial success, trying to navigate the ford on the left and also deal with the last brigade that's facing off on the main river there. On the right, they were figuring out what to do about that routed brigade there, whether they could move up and take it out. So that took a little bit of maneuvering, which was difficult for these troops because they're all poorly trained, which means they're less maneuverable than units typically are in Volley and Bayonet. Eventually, though, on the left, the Union got a good battle line going there, and they were facing off against the two brigades that were there. I think one is Cox's brigade, and the other one on the other side of the little stream is Jackson's brigade. And they caused a lot of damage with fire here, taking out Cox's brigade and also badly damaging Jackson's brigade. So Jackson's brigade then withdrew in its following move. It's not poorly trained, so it's a bit more maneuverable. So it was able to turn, move back, and turn again to face towards the enemy, as it were, but create some distance between itself and the Union forces. On the right, the Confederates, after a little bit of shooting there, decided to pull back again, so they had a tactical withdrawal back towards the hill to try and concentrate their forces a little more. So in the next Union turn here, the Union was pretty much pushing forward quite strongly in all fronts. They were navigating that stream, of course, to get across it. And again, they were only facing three brigades here, one of which, Jackson's, is quite a bit damaged now. Two Confederate brigades eliminated, the original two that were on the table. And so the Confederates are looking pretty weak here, with only three brigades facing off against 8. Nevertheless, they tried to do a bit of a counterattack here in a couple of places and managed some success on both sides, although it did cause a bit of damage to themselves as well. So not looking too strong here. Stuart's cavalry have arrived. They're sitting next to Jackson's brigade near Newmarket at the top of the screen. In the next Union turn, on the right, the Union troops got stuck into Bartow and B's brigade and managed to drive them both off, and just moved up close to Jackson and basically shot him to pieces again, and so he had to withdraw in the next turn. The Confederate units started getting more reinforcements now, another 3 brigades moving up, and so that at least gives them some strength around Newmarket, but they're facing off against a pretty determined, solid line of Union troops here, which really has taken very little damage at this point. The Union troops on the left now moved up in a fairly concerted line and brought their guns to bear, and on the right they decided to charge up the hill and see if they could get rid of the brigade that was sitting up there in a 2-to-1 fight. They did manage to do that, and more shooting caused damage to the Confederate line down here on the left. So overall, things not looking too good for the Confederates. At this point in the battle, I was thinking it was pretty much lost for the Confederates. They were getting close to exhaustion, so decided, what the heck, let's just charge everything in and see what happens. So charged forward with everything possible to try and break this Union lineup, and in the following combats had some success, managed to push some of the Union troops back, but also took more damage on the Confederate side. Lost Jackson's brigade, so he's gone, and that would actually take one of the commands to exhaustion on the Confederate side, and so the day is pretty much looking lost for them. So I called it quits here. So overall, I made a couple of mistakes in following the scenario special rules, but generally speaking, it gave me a good experience of running through Volley and Bayonet. I was checking the rules as I was going, making sure I got things right. I hope I did. And overall, had a bit of fun doing this one anyway, and got my figures on the table, which was another thing that I wanted to do. Overall, I find Volley and Bayonet pretty fast to play, pretty fun, so I'm looking forward to playing it with some other people soon. I was meant to have a game recently, but unfortunately it got postponed at the last minute, so we'll try to get that one done in the future. But anyway, for now, I hope you found that a little bit interesting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.